All right, we're back with another episode of Gridiron Talk in the Sipp, man. I got two special guests with me. I got Coach Wrenn, and I got my next co-host, Malik. Whenever he's in town, he's going to be helping me out. So, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Malik Mayweather, former Olive Branch High School alum, state champion in 2011 we won with the 2012 class, and then I came out in 2013. Coach Wrenn was my receiver coach. Kareem was my teammate, fellow receiver. He went to Mississippi State. I ended up at the University of Miami. And yeah, man, it's a pleasure. When I am in town, I'll co-host and just love the opportunity to sit down with my guys, with my family, people that know me in a way that most people don't. And, you know, talk about football, talk about life, talk about, you know, just expansion and all positive stuff, especially here in Mississippi where a lot of this stuff doesn't get light. And today we got Coach Wrenn, who is my favorite coach. I don't know about everybody else, but he's my favorite coach that I've ever had, and it's a pleasure to have him up here. He's a head coach down at Union, but I'm not going to tell his resume because it's extensive. He's great. So we're going to let you tell your resume, Coach.
I appreciate it, guys. It's good to be back in Olive Branch.
Yes, sir.
You know, not just because it's OB, but, you know, I coached you too, and, you know, y'all are fun to coach. It's good to see y'all grown men living life. You know, and you know, on the field we talk about this. You know, one day you're going to be in this position. It's good to see you both being successful.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, started Olive Branch High School 2010. You know, we're going to talk about that in the podcast. But, you know, left in 2016, go to West Lauderdale. Spent 3 years at West Lauderdale, and I've been the head coach now for 5 seasons at Union. You know, we're going to get into more depth. It's been 5.
You old.
So
It's flying by.
Can't help it, man. It does go by, but you know we're going to talk more about the football stuff. So, you know, if you want to go ahead and let's get in the meat of it.
All right. So first question I got: what got you into coaching? Like once you graduated from college and everything, what made you want to be a coach?
Man, I'll be honest. Like I never saw myself coaching football. Like that's the crazy thing. I grew up in Northeast Mississippi. You know, football is not king up there. It's basketball. I played college baseball, so I figured, you know, I'd probably go basketball, baseball range. Hannah and I graduated college in the recession. And so getting a job in 2010 was tough.
Yeah.
You know, schools were on hiring freezes, budgets were being cut. And so we, you know, talked to the mentors we had, and they said, look, you better go and apply at the largest school districts in the state of Mississippi. And so we did. We went to Rankin County. We went to Madison County. We go to the coast, DeSoto County, and she got the first job at Horn Lake. Mm-hmm. And I'm umpiring a baseball tournament at West Memphis, Arkansas. And grace of God, I meet Kyle Brigance. Garrison is playing in a 13U, maybe a 12U baseball tournament.
Wow.
And I'm behind the plate and strike a conversation with him and Terry Jobe. And he's like, so what are you going to do, young man? I said, man, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I said, my wife just got hired at Horn Lake. I got an interview next week at Marks Palmer. And he said, you know anything about Marks Palmer? I said, no, I don't. And he said, well, good luck on your interview. Hope everything goes well. You're getting an education? I said, yes, sir. You going to coach? Yes, sir. He said, well, if I ever have anything come open, you know, I'll give you a call. You know, give me your number, da-da-da. And so we're out at Arca Butler Lake.
I go fishing.
No, we're out there just inner tubing, man. And I get a call from I was like, Mr. Brigance, I was that guy. And so I called him and said, hey, look, we just had a football job open. Would you be interested in coaching football? I'm like, absolutely. I mean, at this point, I'll do anything. Mm-hmm. And so he said, all right, well, can you be here in about an hour? I said, absolutely. So we leave Arca Butler Lake, and I said, look, I'm in athletic shorts and a cutoff T-shirt. And he said, man, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just come up here and talk to Coach Samsel. And so, you know, that's kind of how the journey started.
That's crazy.
It is so crazy.
Because I would have never known, like, you a kid, right? So you don't know what Coach is going through. And as I've gotten older, I just look at it and be like, you look back now, you look at it and be like, they coaches, they people just like us. They trying to figure it out. They trying to make it. But as a kid, I'm just like, oh, coach, right? And you never know that somebody's going through that and then what they will be in your life, like the impact that you had on everybody you've coached, like especially mine, for sure. Like I can speak from my experience personally, but to hear, like again, you said Arca Butler, I'm like, me and my dad used to go fishing there all the time. Like when we had time, obviously, and we finna get back into it. and he mentioned it 2 weeks ago. So me, I'm very spiritual. I know this ain't really got nothing to do with the podcast, but you bringing that up is confirmation from what he said 2 weeks ago about sometime next year he wants to go fishing. So like, that's why I know stuff like this is ordained. Like stuff like this is supposed to happen, because there's no way that you know he said that.
Right.
And there's no way that I knew you were there when you got the call to become my coach.
Right.
It's crazy. So
and it's crazy because, like, you know, I go back to 2010 having no idea what I was going to do, to like not even really, you know, interested in football. I like watching it, but I didn't want to coach it. And then I look back 14 years, 15 years later, and like, if Sampsell does not take the gamble on hiring a 22-year-old kid, like, there's no way that I'm as successful as I am right now. And and that's something that I try to remember. Like, I'm now 37, I just hired a 23-year-old, you know, but he played college football for 5 years, played quarterback, and, you know, like, it's one of those things where, like, I'm not scared to hire that kid because I know what he did for me and how it projected my future. So, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I'm not scared to take the gamble because, right, you know, it's a 6A program. It's one of the top in the state. You know, a couple years later, it was one of the top in the country. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, and he took a gamble on a 22-year-old kid that didn't, you know, at the time didn't even know what he wanted to do. Program. You know, at a big time program, and there's no way.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way on God's green earth that I deserved to be there in that moment with that staff, with you players.
I didn't know you were that young either.
Yeah,
That's
no.
crazy.
So
I didn't know how old Coach Wrenn
yeah,
was
so
at all.
So this is how it went. May 1st, 2010, we graduated. May the 8th, 2010, we got married. End of June, she got hired at Horn Lake. And then here I am searching, like, what am I fixing to do? And there again, man, I mean, I have nothing but good words for Kyle Bergantz and Scott Sampsell and the entire staff. I mean, you know, like, to this day, I talk to every single person that I coach with there.
I ain't talked to Coach G in a while.
And I talked to Coach G, and I still talk to Coach Tunkett. I talk to Coach Al. I talk to all of them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I think every single person that I've run into, like, somebody had a good idea, somebody had a good philosophy, somebody had a good way of doing something, and then when you get in a leadership position, you get to make all these ideas and turn them into your culture or into your program. And so, you know, that's the blessing of not only working with Coach Sampson and him hiring me, but all the people that we worked with are, you know, have been a head coach or is a current head coach and, you know, are successful people. And so, you know, just being able to learn and bounce off them, and then, you know, of course, being the head coach now and, you know, integrating everything into it, you know, is what's really made, you know, Union successful.
For sure. I want to talk a little bit about that transition from a position coach to becoming a head coach, and, like, because me, I've done training, like personal training, athletic training, certified nutrition coach, all of that. And that's more position specific, that's more on the, like, development side and position specific side of things. But when you start saying, all right, I'm gonna graduate from that and go and start leading a full team of multiple positions and multiple disciplines between defense and offense and different, you know, formations and play styles, how did you, I guess, make that transition? Like, what's the difference between where you started as a receiver coach, obviously, you know, not thinking you were going to coach football, to now understanding, all right, for us to be successful, it takes these pieces. Like, how was that development for you, I guess?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing, like, before you have to start doing all that, is you really have to sit and figure out, like, which kid do I get in the right seat? You know, like, that's the first thing. Like, you know, every time the season ends, the first thing I do before I start scheming anything and I start doing anything, I was like, man, we have got to get our kids in the right seat. Because if you take an outside linebacker and say, no, I got to have an H-back. Well, I mean, he's a dang good outside linebacker, but he's not very good at H-back, but he should be. But it's just not, it doesn't fit his personality.
Right.
And so, you know, that's the first thing we do, you know, as far as, like, you know, end of season, and we're trying to figure things out. Where can we put each kid to make us and him the most successful? Right. And so, you know, after you get all that figured out, you know, of course, and you start, you know, seeing the off season, and where they're strong at, where they're weak at, and then you build your system based off individual kids. I think last year to this year for Union is probably one of the most different offensive people have seen, because we had a 6'6" quarterback who was a 3-year guy in the system, pretty much thought the way that I thought, and so I had basically the offensive coordinator taking the snaps, right. And then he has an accident, he misses his senior year, and then we have to throw somebody else in the situation, and the offense changes completely. It's not that we don't have it in the book, but then again, you got to develop your system based off what kids you got, and I think of all high school coaches listening to this, I think that's the hardest part for us high school coaches, especially at a small school, is you got all these things you would like to do, but running an offense, you got to do exactly what's best for your quarterback. And our quarterback play this year was above average for what it's worth. We threw a kid into a bad situation, and it's just unforeseen circumstances. And but I'm proud of how he handled it, and he performed well. And going on to it, it's he's a year under his belt. And but Malik, going back to how do you transition it? The thing I learned at Olive Branch that taught me the most was Samsel said, look, it's after like 4 weeks, 5 weeks of being there, I didn't really say a whole lot. I'm trying to figure things out. And he said, look, dude, I ain't finna tell you every single thing to do. Like, you're going to be the head coach of your position. And so I think, once I learned, how to be the head coach of my position, then you get comfortable with that. Well, then, of course, any grown man's like, okay, what's next?
Right.
What's next? And then, Coach Goodwin was there coaching the O-line, and he was with me at the junior high, and he taught me so much on, the offensive line play. If the defense is giving you this, you want to attack this. And so being with him for the 4 years, I think after my first year being at Olive Branch, he turned the entire junior high offense over to me. So I appreciated them, because with them, they never just said, hey, this is how you do it. Let me walk you through it. I'm going to show you and I'm going to tell you, but then it's either sink or swim. You got to figure it out. Yeah. And I think that's the best learning process that anybody can have. Somebody just always gives you something, takes you by the hand. Well, it's hard for you to really just take ownership of it, because then you get in trouble, or you can't figure it out. You're always going to go back and say, hey, look, and with them, it was like, look, this is how we do it. This is how you're going to do it. And
you get it done.
You get it done.
Get to it.
You get it done. Yeah. And I tell this story all the time. The year after we won the state championship, we're in the weight room, and it's thin. Y'all know what senior class we graduated. It's thin. And Samson walks in and says, "Hey, look, if we had to play next week, who's your 4 starting receivers?" And I said, I named off 3 kids, and he said, "What about the 4th one?" I said, "Man, I don't know. I think we may have to get a tight end H-back." And he said, "No. Either you're going to develop one, or we're going to fire you and somebody else is going to come in and find one." And so I took that to heart, and I was like, my gosh, I was like, yeah, this program is that program where if you don't produce, like you better get ready. But in all reality, I look back on that conversation and I look at it like, would I probably gotten fired? No, probably not. But it was one of them points to where I hired you to develop them, so we better get a 4th one, And so, but I always appreciated that comment, because I think that comment to me has led me to today of, I'm going to coach. I coach every day like I'm going to get fired, and I'm really not. But that mentality he gave me was like, no, you better do it and you better figure it out. And and I tell a lot of Samsel stories, back in Union. But in all reality, me being around him as much as I was around him has really put me in a situation to be successful.
Yeah. So on that journey, at what point did you say, okay, I want to be a head coach someday? Was it something you wanted to do at the start of coaching, or was it this one thing to say, okay, I want to be a head coach?
Yeah, I think, of course, when I started, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
I was like, this is a lot of stuff. Yeah. He's managing 115 players, 10 through 12. There was
in high school.
Yeah, in high school, and then your freshman class, we had 65 to 70. 8th grade you had 100, you know, 7th grade you had 100, so you add all them
People
together.
started to filter out too.
Yeah.
Because I remember people that I played with in middle school, they like stopped playing.
That's right.
And it's like these were people that either went on and played basketball or maybe they stuck to baseball. But it's like these were good athletes. So I never, like at that point in time in my life, I didn't understand. I'm like, why is this kid that's really good at basketball and football not playing football when we win in football? Like we can go be something. And then I kind of understood it when I gave up basketball. Because I was like, Coach Simpson told me kind of the same thing. Like he told you that you're going to develop when you get fired. He told me I wasn't going to play if I couldn't gain weight.
Right.
And I was like, I ain't hooping then because they don't do nothing but run.
That's
I'm not
it.
going to gain no weight. So I was like baseball and football, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where it stuck. So, yeah, absolutely. I think just answering your question, I'll give you my take on what I think he was thinking and how he got to the head coach part. Like, you got a wife and you want to have kids and you want more. In order to make more, I guess you would like need to look at it and say, all right, cool, I need to look at what the next step is. So O coordinator, D coordinator, head coach, because you make more money in the school system the higher you are up, from my understanding. Is that?
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think I'll be honest with you, Malik. That part was not even like in my thought process. I think it's all about like competitiveness.
That too.
Like to me, competition drives everything. And so, you know, and I'll say that you bring up the wife and marriage, like, you know, and I advise this to all young guys that are into it, like you better have a rock star, because there's not a lot of women, you know, that can handle it. I mean, we are gone, and it's sad to say, but it all comes true. And Hannah and I have had this conversation. She said, you know, at one point in time, like, or how do you, you know, or you spend so much time and you'll jump really quick when a particular kid needs something. Like you're gone. You're gone. You're figuring it out.
It's hard to balance it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and then and I told her, I said, but here's the thing, like I know when I leave my kids right here, they're good. They're good. They got a great life. That kid I'm going to help does not.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a part of our calling. You know, yes, we are a head coach. I don't look at it like a head coach. I look at it like, how can I best not to serve my school, but how can I serve my kids? How can I help their parents? You know, how can I help cultivate, you know, just a culture of like, I don't want you to be where you're at, because I think you as a person have so much more. And then how can I help them get out of a generational curse that people call it? You know, because it's not a curse. It's just a mind frame.
Yeah.
You know, and so like, how can I help this kid? I know what you want. I know your abilities. I know your psychological warfare you have with yourself. Okay, I got to try to fix that first, because until you start believing in yourself, and you don't believe, if you don't believe, who else is going to believe?
Right.
You know, and I tell our kids all the time, I believe, you believe, we believe. That's power.
Yeah.
You know, you believe and I don't, you by yourself.
Exactly.
You know, but like when you believe and he believes and I believe, that's we.
Yeah.
You know,
He
and
got me to
so
believe in jumping for the ball. That's how we
yeah,
do this.
that's it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it is a very, and to me, competition drives every single bit of that. Like I want you to be the best you can be. Why? Because it's competition. You know, same for you. It's competition, and if you have a mind frame to do it, and I know you're competitive, and you're not doing it, then there is something there that's missing. And if it's me mentoring you psychologically to get you to understand that you can do it, then that's what I'm going to do. And so, like, people want to know, you know, how do you get kids to play hard under bad circumstances? You know, you hear it all the time, the phrase front running. You know, when everything's good, they're good. But when things go bad, they're bad. So how do you change that? I think the biggest thing that you can do for kids that have that mentality, or kids that are like that, well, for one, you know, that's a culture of life they live in, you know, and then we try to come in and change it. And it's not going to be an easy process, but when that kid calls and you go fix it or you go help them, well, what's going to happen when it gets bad? Slowly and slowly and slowly, they learn, I'm not playing the game to play the game. I'm playing the game for him, because I respect him.
Exactly.
You know, that man loves me, and I'm going to do what I can to help him. So it kind of goes back and forth. And I think, you know, if you can get a group of kids and you change their heart and you change their mind, you're also going to change their play.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, just talking on the marriage part, you know, and balancing that, it is tough. But like, it's like I told Hannah, I know at the end of the day when I come home, my kids are fine because my wife's a rock star. She's got it figured out. You know what I mean? And so they say, Steve Harvey says this all the time, marriage ain't 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, it's 80-15. Have y'all seen that clip?
I know you're talking about.
You seen the clip, Malik?
All right,
so he says it's 80-15 to the wife because the wife knows your schedule. She knows her schedule. She knows every kid's schedule, what day, what time. And you as the dude, you just know yours.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. You know? Like,
yeah,
it's true.
And that is how they are. And, you know, she's an elementary principal. She's got an important job. But, man, like I tell you, like, football season's easy because I'm married to a good woman. And I advise you, yes, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference.
I'm the only one not married in here, huh? I'm on the way. Yeah. I'm on the way, y'all.
But
2026.
You know, it's just one of them things that like she's not, you know, not a part of the team. Like she's like probably one of the biggest role factors in the team. You know, because if you don't have a solid one there, well, where's my mind at practice? You know, where's my mind at, you know, where's my mind at preparing? You know, because if my mind ain't right, how can y'all expect me to get their mind right? And so, you know, you got to have a really good, stable wife. You got to have a good, stable family. And you know, she's 15 years into this, and she gets it. You know, and she supports them just as much as she supports me. You know, it ain't about, hey, how did you do today? It's, hey, how'd Drake do today?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how was Milan today? Hey, have you talked to Bug today?
Yeah,
you know, how's Tristan?
Yeah.
How's Jordan Smith doing today? And I'm like, they're fine, you know.
So how was that transition moving to another city just for coaching? Did she like that? Did she agree with that, or was it?
Man, she has always been very supportive.
Okay.
Like, you know, and this is tough. You know, at one place or another, I can't remember when we had this conversation. I think it was when we were maybe at Olive Branch, maybe transitioning out of Olive Branch. It was like, you know, she had a master's. You know, she had a higher education than I did. But it was to the point of like, you know, if you're going to be a head coach or do you want to be a head coach, then like, you know, one of us has got to pick, follow the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to be a head coach, then of course she's, you know, in her mind preparing herself. Well, if he's going to be a head coach, then I got to be prepared to be able to move on a dime. Because like when you take head coaching jobs, it happens quick. Like, you know, you go to an interview, and then you're sitting here on pins and needles trying to figure out, you know, if you got the job or not. And it's, hey, you got the job. And then it's like, hey, you ready to move? Where are we moving?
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you got to be able to be ready for all that. But I mean, I think we do a really good job at supporting each other. You know, it's like, hey, this is available. What do you think? You know, what avenues is she going to have versus, you know, what avenues she's not going to have? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if she's going to be the one that's the rock and soul of your program, then at some point in time, the school district's got to be in part with, well, if we want him, she's got to be happy too. Right. You know what I mean? And I think there's got to be a healthy balance of, you know, we want him, we got to do it. You know what I mean? And if school districts don't, then, you know, I'd always advise, like, you better have a healthy conversation. You know, and I'm, you know, mainly speaking to the young guys. The guys that are in my position or have been in my position, they know, like, you know, happy wife, happy life. You know, but you know, you asked me, you know, about transition from the coordinator stuff. It goes all the way back to being competitive. I think once you start getting content with yourself with what you've done, then it's time for you to move on.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody asks me all the time, how long are you gonna stay at Union? How long are you gonna stay at Union? And the answer is, I don't know. You know, I think whenever I feel content with what I've done is when I need to leave. And I don't know when that'll be.
You gotta keep that drive.
Yeah, you got to. Because I mean, I always apply self-pressure. It's made up pressure, but I think as grown men in here, the fear of failure is the best drive.
Yeah.
And so like that fear of failure,
Yeah, putting stuff on your plate. Like, I mean, again, y'all married, I'm not, but like one of the things I put on my plate is, all right, cool, we got a wedding to have in 2026, early 2026. What does next year look like? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? How do we start stacking these wins? How do we start saying how we're going to get to these milestones? And the same thing happens in the program. But I think also the same thing happens for some of these kids and how they look at it, right? We start the season, all right, cool. I know I need a certain amount of stats to try to get picked up. And then that transition from high school to college, like preparing them for that, is a whole nother thing. It's like, all right, cool, I need to learn these principles of offense or defense. And then if they want to change my position, okay, cool, how do I go about understanding what that looks like if I'm getting recruited at linebacker, but I play receiver and linebacker, outside linebacker, or tight end or something like that, because you got an H-back, so maybe outside linebacker, H-back, like you mentioned. Okay, they want him for H-back, not his role in terms of what he does best. And he might still get recruited at linebacker, but let's say he ends up having to go to that program and play H-back. Like, how do you get them ready to be prepared to be agile for that? I think is really key, and I think it comes from those experiences, like you said. Hey, I had to move on a dime, and I've had to have those conversations with, my significant other, my family, but also internally. Like, all right, cool. If you want to be successful playing this game, here's the mentality you have to have. And I honestly don't think it happened to me until I got to JUCO, right? Because the whole Miami thing and them switching me to DB even after I said no, and then leaving and then getting to East Mississippi and being asked to play both ways. At that point in my mind, I was like, all right, bro, no matter what's going on, if I want to be successful playing football, I'm going to have to start doing something, right? Because at this point, time running out. And then I got injured and it took me to a whole nother place, right? So I think everything you said hits the nail on the head in terms of just preparing yourself and how do you have those conversations with yourself and be real, but then also how do you get to the point where you can have those conversations with others? Because I can tell you right now at 30, it's a lot easier than it was at 22, 23 to have those conversations both with myself and other people to keep myself accountable. But like you said, fear of failure I think has always been healthy for myself and also the people that I keep around me. Because if you're not, if you don't have some degree of fear in yourself to not be who you said you're going to be, like if you don't got the audacity to work at what you said you're going to work at, like it gets real tough for me to kind of look at you and then watch you complain about what you don't have. Like that's a pet peeve of mine. And I think that's another reason that it was hard for me to do recruiting instead of becoming a GA, because I tried to become a GA at Miami. They wouldn't put me in the room. And I was only like a year removed and I still knew all the guys, but they changed staff and all the things that I don't know about coaching because I hadn't been at that level were taking place probably behind the scenes that caused me not to become a GA. But I was doing what I could in recruiting. But then recruiting, I'm looking at recruits get their ass kissed, and then NIL and all that stuff comes out now, and it's like it's turned less into preparing kids to be what we call in sports a dog, but in life a man, in my opinion. And that was the hard part for me because I don't know anything else, just based on how I was raised. Y'all both know my pop, so like I'm raised to be that dog turned to man, and a lot of these kids are raised to be, like you said, front runners, prima donnas, and if it don't go their way, they complain and they not working.
That's right.
And that bothers me. So I have a comfortable place. I feel comfortable with any job that you take, knowing you as my favorite coach, but also as the man that you are, especially as I've gotten older and been able to observe it. I'm comfortable with anybody that comes across you because I know you're teaching them to work despite or in spite of what's going on. And I think that helps.
Like you got to have like a a so what mentality. I woke up in a bad mood. So what? I'm happy today. So what? Things are going in every direction I want them to go. So what? Everything's wrong. So what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do about it? Like I heard this thing on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's talking about this guy, like, and instead of saying, so what, it was good.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Good. Like, I don't want to get out of bed today, or something hurts or something. Good.
Awesome.
Good.
I love it.
And it's just like, You know, but it just goes back, and I think like, you know, everybody says like, you know, the generations change, you know, whatever, you know, like I think I'm a millennial. I think what they call them today, the Gen Zs.
Gen Zs, yeah.
You know, like they're no different. You know, I mean, they are to an extent, but like the thing is, like, I have an 8-year-old and I talk crap to her. You know, because like, you know, at the end of the day, like she is going to be a good athlete. You know, and like you can just see it. She's lean, she's strong, you know, she's got really good hand-eye coordination, and she's really good at some things athletically. And so what I see with the kids that I coach in today's world is like, y'all could go back and forth on the practice field with the DBs and y'all be talking so much crap.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like it never got personal.
No.
Yeah.
You know? Like you made the play, you're handshaking him, you know, whatever. You know, and after that it's over with. Like what I see today is like it gets personal.
Yeah.
And then somebody wants to fight. Like, you know, you just look in the state of Mississippi this year and look how many brawls there were.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, like that's the one thing that like I tell our kids at Union all the time. Y'all ever want me to resign and not be your coach? Go get in a bench brawl. Go get in a bench brawl because I will resign the next day. Because that is the most disrespectful thing that you can do to a head coach, or not to a head coach, but I mean really everybody on the staff.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is nothing that you know, we're not about that. It's not taught. It's just something selfishly happened. And guess how it all started? Well, Coach, he said, I don't care what he said. Like, nobody cares what he said. He doesn't know you, you know? Like, and you got to learn how to handle it. And I think that is where the generations have changed just a little bit, is like, you know, y'all can do it. And it's, you know, it's like a game to you, you know, and at the end of it, it's over with, you know. Y'all are hugging each other. I appreciate the good work today. You know, whatever. You know, y'all's doing 7-on-7 all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we went all over the country playing 7-on-7.
A lot of 7-on-7.
You know,
Yeah.
and so like, but I mean, at the end of it, I mean, it was all cool. And out of all those 7-on-7s, I never saw not one fight happen. You know, and then today you hear about it all the time. And so it goes back to me talking crap to my 8-year-old. Why am I doing that? Because I want to put her in a position one day when she's 13, maybe it might be 12, the first time somebody's hammering her, you know, like, and she don't know how to respond to it. Well, I'm gonna feel like as a dad, that's my fault, you know, because I coach sports, I see what happens on a daily basis, you know, on the court or on the field, and if she can't handle that, then she's not gonna be successful, you know, because somewhere along the lines you got to be able to, in your head, understand that like, I got to be mentally strong. And I think that's the difference of, you know, people want to talk about, well, the Gen Z is just different. They're not different. They just handle things a lot differently. Yeah. And I think that comes from, you know, the cell phones. Like,
that's why I was
it's so hard. It's so hard. And we have exit meetings with our kids. Like, it's one-on-one. They're sitting in that chair and we're talking about their season and what they can do. And you'd be amazed at like how uncomfortable these kids are with face-to-face interaction, you know. And so I try to at least, I think we got 53 kids, 9 through 12 in our program. And if it's not me, it's another coach. Like, there's always like some face-to-face interaction going on. Like, hey, let's go have a conversation with this kid. Let's see, you know, what's going on at home? How's life? What you need? You know, whatever. Because they lack the one-on-one. Because like everything's through a text message. Yeah. You know, everything's through a Snapchat. Yeah. You know, and so I don't think like kids have changed. I think how we handle things have changed because they don't know how to handle controversy face to face. Because there's not a lot of it anymore. Everything controversy is in a group chat.
Well, the consequences aren't as real. You had consequences on, like we were talking about last night, me and Kareem, as we were pre-setting up. Our team was really player-led.
100%.
In a lot of different ways. Like, you don't not touch the line or not make your sprints because we run an extra. If we run an extra, then it's a problem. Like, I'm not trying to run extra for you. Picture day,
Oh, picture day was, dude.
Oh my God.
Let me go ahead and tell you. I tell everybody
Bro.
that is the worst experience of Olive Branch High School football is picture day.
I don't think nobody. I think everybody, at least in our era, like,
Dude,
everybody has had
it
the
was
picture
awful.
day.
It was awful.
We had to go through it all 4 years. I swear, my senior year, I thought we got away for a second. Go good one. On the line. I said, Lord have mercy.
So just to help y'all's feelings out, there is no more picture day. Like it's in a room like this, lights set
like,
up.
Hey,
looks
look, if I
all
become
good.
a head, if I
Yeah.
become a head coach, I'm bringing back picture day. Y'all got me
No,
messed
hey,
up.
that's fine. You go sit your toe up in them bleachers. The sun shining bright in your eye. Ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Just you bring them right in here, take the picture,
Yeah.
and
In
then
the gym.
and guess what? It gets photoshopped.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
And it looks so
look
much.
good.
It looks so much better than what it would out there anyway.
Yeah.
But what impact do you think by kids playing sports, them maturing in life, like how big of an impact do you think that is for kids?
Dude, I think it's so, especially with sports, like it's competitive, and so like I think sports is a great development of like how to teach them to be competitive, because as y'all know, life is competitive.
Yeah, and I remember when I was at Mississippi State, and man, we had Coach Mullen, we had other coaches there, and they're gonna talk bad to you. They're gonna get you ready. So like, if you go to a job after class, they're telling you do this and do that. You've heard the worst when you was in playing sports, football or something like that. Like even Coach Sampson, they're gonna get on you. So, I feel like now it's kind of harder for coaches now because it's like social media. They'll say if Coach Wrenn in the locker room talking, and nothing trying to hurt anybody's feelings too bad, but he just coaching them up, teaching them how to be a man or whatever. But now it's like, man, it's harder to do that because they'll get canceled or whatever, what people say, or you lose a job over it or something.
I will tell you, like, that's the thing that I worry about the most. Like because I'm a very, like, not emotional person, but like right before we go out, all that adrenaline and all that anxiousness, like you're ready to just, not headbutt somebody, but you know what I'm talking about. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
And so like I have to really like
watch what
breathe.
you say sometimes.
Yes, 100%. Like, and that's the thing. Like one of the kids asked me one time, like, Coach Wrenn, like, you never just like let it fly before we go out. And I'm like, no, I'm very calm. I'm very collected. Hey, look, that's why. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell them, hey, look, we won the toss. We lost the toss. We're receiving or kicking. Guys, I can promise you this. If you'll play hard, if you'll play discipline, and if you can accept the bad things that are going to happen and play the next play like they didn't, the good things that are going to happen, the next play, prepare as if they didn't. So every play has got a life of its own. And you go out and play every play with the best effort, the best technique, and with discipline, you're going to like what happens at the end of the night. Stay away from stupid penalties. Don't play with your emotions. At the end of the day, guys, it's high school football, man. Go have fun. It is something along those lines and in that tone. Because, like, I know if I get to that moment, I don't know what's fixing to fly, and I don't know what phone's being recorded with. And all it takes is, like, man.
It takes one thing.
It takes
one
one
thing. It could be
thing.
something simple, not even.
Yeah, like, and it's so out of context.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know, like it's so out of context. And so, and I tell our staff the same thing. Like, look, when you're watching film, you're making halftime adjustments. Like, just remember, you're in a room full of teenagers. You don't know if their phone is, laying over there from where they sat all day, from waiting on the game. Like, you don't know, because, you're not going to pay attention like who's on the phone.
You worry about the game.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, you can just click record on the side of your phone and just lay it beside you. Nobody ever knows.
Right.
And so I just tell them, like, look, you always got to be careful, At the end of the day, like, how mad you are if something happened, it can't reflect the words out of your mouth, that, because you never know what it is. And like I said, it's going to be taken out of context. And, at the end of the day, unfortunately, cell phones are a part of our life. And that is one thing, like, you got to worry about the most,
being a coach,
Yeah, I mean,
that's what makes me mad about cameras and doing all this stuff too, though. They tell me I can't record with these and stuff when we go places, but then these are connected to the internet.
That's right.
I can record with this and do more damage than that could ever do because I have to take that, unload it, upload it, tweak it, and then put it out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more distance between something bad happening that I caught with these cameras than it is with this cell phone, and that's across all life, not just football. And it's like getting the kids to understand that too, not just the coach, because the coaches have the wherewithal. The kids don't understand the damage that they're doing to themselves or other people, because it's not just them capturing you if you say something crazy. It's they put it out, and now other coaching staffs around the country are now seeing that this kid could potentially be a liability for their program and how they want to coach and develop their program to become winners. And that's how they take care of their families. Not that it's not how you take care of your family, but at the college level, again, bigger programs, bigger stakes, and more for people to lose. And it's just like, you got to prepare the kids to understand the gravity of those decisions. And then college football is so much more competitive now with NIL and the transfer portal. To go out of high school, it's almost like, all right, if you're not that guy, you got to go to a smaller school, do well, prove yourself, and then jump in the portal. And that's becoming the thing. So now small tier colleges are becoming the new junior colleges in my eyes.
100%. I agree.
Yep. So, I mean, how do you deal with, I guess, kids like that? Like, all right, cool, making them understand what this can do to their future.
Yeah, I mean, you have to constantly remind them, I think personally that Snapchat is the worst app for teenagers, but it's also the most popular because I think 98% of our problems at the high school level come from Snapchat.
That's crazy because I don't even use Snapchat.
I don't. I have it, but like it's non-existent to my life. Like it's not something I'm gonna look at every day.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's the simple, and that's what I tell our kids. And I've never personally dealt with it. But like somebody sends one of these kids a picture on Snapchat that they should not have sent. But then two, I show it to a friend or I send it to a friend. That friend sends it to whoever.
Yeah.
Like what they don't understand is like you just shared like child pornography. And so like if I'm her parents and this happened, like, of course, there's going to be things that's going to happen that you never thought of.
Yeah.
It gets turned over to the cops. And now they investigate it, and they take your phone, and they take his phone, and all of you shared it. Well, I mean, you just got yourself set up for, there again, something that you never saw happening. And so, and you have to, and these are things we talk to our kids about. Like, if somebody sends you a picture, you better delete it. Then you definitely don't send it because you don't want somebody coming to you being like, hey, look, you shared a picture. Family wants to press charges on, child pornography, and now you got to go as a registered sex offender or
for the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's just, and so,
Some kids,
football coaching is so much more than X's and O's,
and that's what
man.
this is
Like,
about.
it's
some kids don't understand. Like, just even if Snap you put on your private or whatever, once you post it, you got to be ready. Anybody can see. It's on the internet, so
somewhere.
And even look like the kids on there smoking, like all that stuff could affect you in your recruiting and in life, really. Like, so
I mean,
watch what you do.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like, I tell our kids that are gonna get recruited, like, I follow all of them on their social media pages. I also follow their parents, and like, I made a phone call the other night. I said, hey, look, I think so and so is fixing to offer you. I haven't looked at your social media page in a while. What have you posted? Nothing. It's been clean. I said, okay. I don't have your parent. I don't have Facebook. All right. So what? I don't know what your parents post on Facebook, but I know that they're going to go look at it. So I need you to go tell your parents, like, hey, if there's anything on their Facebook that's borderline, I maybe shouldn't have posted it. I need them to go delete it because I mean that's the thing as a coach, your kids getting recruited, you got to get them prepared for like this is what they're going to look for. And you don't want this to be the reason to why they didn't offer you.
Right.
Exactly.
And so, it's funny, we've been sitting here talking for probably 30, 45 minutes, and we ain't talking about the first offensive play.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. I was
because, at the end of the day, Malik, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, if you can't take care of, like, if you can't coach the kid through a hard time in his personal life, then, like, him running a good dig route don't matter. Him running a 3-step slant, give him a boom boom, it don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, how many kids have we seen that we played with? I mean, I got a couple people in mind that we played with that should have been all world at any school they went to.
Yeah.
And because of that, those things you talked about, being able to coach them through life and get them prepared, or just not being able to do that because of whatever their circumstances are, and you just only have so much power, they weren't able to do that. And I'm sitting here like, man, they was amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely amazing at football, and should have been able to play anywhere in the SEC, ACC, Pac-12 at that time, Big 10, Big 12, wherever. Like, they could play.
Yeah,
they never got it.
And those three words hurt my soul. Should have been. You know, like it's like I think it's the three worst words of the language, because it's so many kids that just they have all the talent in the world, but like it's the 6 inches between the ears to where they couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say I spend too much time on it, because I don't think I spend too much time on it, but I think I personally spend more time on trying to figure out why is this kid doing what he is doing. And I encourage people to go watch Kevin Elko. You know, you're talking about learning things from every coach you've ever coached with. Pete Hurt put me on Kevin Elko. You know, and Kevin Elko is a great sports psychologist, and every video he's gonna talk about, it's like, how do you talk to yourself? You know, and that's the thing. Like, if you can start changing, you know, a little bit at a time on like how this kid is talking to himself, and you can, because there's 3 kids in our program right now. I'm gonna find something, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, whatever, wherever I see it. If it matches what they're dealing with, oh, I'm sending it to them. Because, like, we wake up every day. I don't know about y'all, but first thing I just want to take a shower. Okay? And so if I don't take a shower tomorrow, ain't nobody want to be around me. I stink. Right? But it's the same way with, like, when kids are going through things, you can't just have one conversation and just leave it alone. Well, I mean, crap, I talked to him. I mean, I told him. Well, yeah, you told him, but like, he's a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. Like, you have to be able to send something every day. Because like at the end of the day, people who do not self-motivate themselves, most of the time those people are not successful. Yeah. So you got to be able to find something every day to try to send to that kid, just a reminder. You know, like I got one kid that's a freak athlete. Doesn't, for some reason, doesn't think he is. You know, so how can I send him something every day along the lines of betting on yourself? Because I told him, like, if you can't bet on you, then how do you expect this college to bet on you? You can't. So you got to be able to. It goes back to the power of believing. If you don't believe first, then don't expect him to.
Right.
And so. But I try to do that with our kids in our program. Not only me, but I think our assistant coaches do a good job too. You know, they see something, boom, they send it. You know.
So how has it been at Union? You head coach now. How did that start? How did that come about? That you became a head coach at Union, your first head coaching job?
Man, so
we got to talk about the season too, because they.
Oh you've been. I know you've been doing your thing over there too. I know you got district championships. And
so
you've been doing it.
Number one, my wife is from the area, and I will tell you this, and it's just as crazy as the Olive Branch story, honestly. So growing up in Corinth, Mississippi, my best friend was Brady Wade, and so I spent a lot of time at his house, and so his uncle was Bill Wade, who I become to know as Dr. Bill Wade, and so I would go down to Union at the age of 10 years old. And he was the superintendent of Union. And I started going to the Neshoba County Fair with him, and then I met this guy named Don Brantley, who was at the time the principal at Union. When Dr. Wade retired, Don Brantley became the superintendent of Union, and then me and Jess Brantley, Don's son, became really good friends. And then, along the way, I'm 17 years old now, and me and Jess are, made a connection. We've been friends for 7 years now. Well, he introduces me to Hannah, who is my wife now. And so, long story short, I'm at West Lauderdale. It is Union's probably 25 minutes from West Lauderdale. And so the job comes open. I get a phone call, Dr. Wade. Hey, Coach Wrenn. He said, hey, Jordan. I said, yes, sir. What do you think about that Union job? I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, you know, I figure that, you know, they're going to hire, you know, Zach Robinson, you know, who is now our principal. And he was like, nah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. And I said, well, I mean, like, I know it's a small town. I know it's a very close-knit community. Like, I figured they would hire somebody that was from there. And he said, you know, I don't think that's what they're looking for. I think they're trying to get outside the box. And I said, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if I got an honest shot to get it, I'll go apply for it. So I hang up with him. 30 minutes later, Don Brownlee calls, hey, Jordan, what about that Union job? I'm like, what? I said, man, Dr. Wade just called me. He said, man, look, I think it'd be a good fit. You know, if you could, you know, if you have a good interview, you know, and you can go sell yourself a little bit, like, I think it'd be a good job for you. And I said, okay, well, I mean, yeah. If y'all think it's a good opportunity, you think that, you know, because they know me.
You're right.
You know, and so I know if they know me and they know that school, then, you know, it made me feel more confident that if they thought I'd be a good fit, then, you know, it'd be a good fit. So, you know, of course, send it in and, you know, get hired. And I'll be honest with you, man, that is the most blessing town of Mississippi. Like, it's like 1990. Like, in my 5 years, and there's going to be some coaches watching this, I'm like, daggum, that makes me mad. I have not had not one single parent come in my office upset about what I did on Friday night on a play call, or, hey, I don't appreciate how you talk to my kid. Hey, why is my kid not playing? Like, I've never had one of those conversations in 5 years.
That's not gonna
Like the only question I've ever had was from a parent, and her kid was a sophomore, my first year there, and we had to pull him in the middle of the game. He wasn't playing well, you know, and we didn't know why. Something was going on, so we pull him, and of course we get beat. And she walks in 8 o'clock Monday morning, and I was like, here it goes. Like, this is going to be my first year head coach. Like, I'm fixing to have to deal with something. And she walks in there, and I said, how you doing, Miss Toya? She said, Coach Wrenn, I'm fine, but I need to tell you something. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, don't you play my baby if he going to get us beat. And I said, excuse me? She said, he's sorry. And I said, look, now, he's just a sophomore. He's going to be fine. And she said, nah, we're going to win. And if you got to win without him, don't put him out there.
Hey, man.
And I was like, wow. Like, so to me, I was just like, wow. That was a really cool, like, thing for me, is like, these people don't care about that. They just want, like, what's best, not maybe for their kid, but for the entire program.
Right.
And you know, the funny thing is, like, her daddy, who just recently passed, was probably like one of the biggest supporters. He never missed a practice, and he never missed a game. If we rolled out of the parking lot at 10:30 in the morning to go ahead to an away game on a playoff game, that joker was going to be right behind the bus.
Wow.
In his vehicle. And, you know, and he'd always be at practice, and he had, I can't remember exactly what was wrong, but he had a hole in his throat, so he couldn't. I could understand what he's talking because I was around him long enough, but it was hard. Yeah. But like he'd give me, you know, a signal to come talk to him, and I'd come talk to him, and he'd be like, hey, you know, you need to do. I'm like, all right. I called him Pappy. I said, all right, Pappy, I'll take care of it. And then every once in a while, he'd look at me and he'd be like,
kick.
I'm like, no, you can't come kick. You know? And so, but I tell you what, and I told Toya this before the season started. I said, look, the one thing that's going to be missing is, I said, you know, Pappy ain't gonna be sitting in the left corner right there. And she said, no, he ain't, but he's gonna be watching. And I told her, I said, but you know what's cool? And I said, is that Pappy went out on the best season in the history of outside Olive Branch, in the history of Union High School. Yeah. Like, we went 12-2. In his last season to watch, we went 12-2, which was the most program wins in program history. And I told her, and I was like, you know what? And that man deserved to see that.
Hey, man, he left proud, man.
He did, man. He left on a high note, man. And I tell people, man, like, that man would come in our office on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Just sit down, we just talk. You know, and I think that's why I like unions so much is, like, it's hard to allow people in, you know, and just give them the insight of like, hey, how's practice going? Hey, how's this team look? Or hey, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, you always feel like as a coach, like, I'm very careful of, like, let's just say somebody owns some land.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, coach, you want to go hunting with me? Well, yeah, I do. Like, I really do. But no, I don't tell them that. But like, I'm just like, no, I appreciate it. I got some other. Because at the end of the day, like, you don't know the intentions of what's going to come. Like, you know, let's just say, you know, for whatever, they got a nephew that's playing.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, you know.
You went hunting with me.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you know.
Not playing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I have never, ever had that vibe at Union. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that vibe at Union. I mean, I call it open door policy. Like, somebody got something they want to come talk about, let's come talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ain't finna listen to you yell, because I ain't about that life, because I'm always a person that, you know, if there's a problem, then let's figure out a solution, and let's not make a problem a bigger problem.
Right.
So, like, by you coming in and yelling about something, like, just shut up. Hey, we ain't fixing nothing.
Right.
All right, so you really got a problem, let's sit down, let's find a solution to it. But what was your, you said I would talk about me being a head coach. What was it?
Yeah, no, we started that conversation talking about the transition to head coach, and then he asked you just how the union came about.
Yeah.
And then I was saying we still need to talk about the season, so mentioning how Pappy got to see 12-2. Well, this year wasn't quite 12-2,
No,
but the way you finished was still on a high note as well.
I will be honest with you. The thing that we had to teach this group years 1, 2, and 3 is when something bad happens, how do I respond to it? You know, and I told y'all that I took a lot of time out of my own personal family life to develop this 9-week course of the winning mentality.
Right.
All right. And so, and people are like, well, how'd you decide to come up with this topic? Because that's what I felt like our team needed. You know, and so I was there for 2 years, and I had to figure out, like, you know, you can't figure everything out in year 1. You know, in year 2, you start trying to put some pieces together. In year 3, you're like, I think I got a good idea. And so, and all this is going to relate to this season, but I got to go back. Teaching these kids how to handle adversity, how to talk to themselves, how to believe in themselves. What conversations are we having when things are going good? What conversations are we having when things are going bad? And when things are going bad, how can I get it in my mind to something good right away? That's the quickest thing we talk about. Is like, when it's negative, you got to shut it off, and you got to get something positive into it, or you're going to sit here and dwell in this. And so moving forward, I felt like I had a lot of good feedback from our kids, our seniors that are now, you know, 20, 21 years old. Like, Coach Wrenn, that was awesome. Like, I really, like, Cameron Jackson's in the military right now. He's like, man, that's one of the best things that ever happened. Was just me just learning, and through that process of, like, how to believe in myself, how to talk to myself. And so when he came back and told me all that, it's just something that I try to reiterate all the time with our kids. And then you go back to the 12-2 season. We knew before the 12-2 season, I told our staff in the summer, like, if we don't get this group to the north half to play Charleston, we have failed them. And then somebody said, what about Charleston? I was like, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because, you know, from the Olive Branch days, Charleston's always good. And so that was no surprise. And then after the 12-2 year, you know, here we are, April, 7-on-7. I'm letting the 3-year quarterback call the entire offense the entire day. Like, he knew what to do, how to do, what concept needed to be thrown, down in distance. Like, he had it all. I'm like, dude, this is freaking, he's fixing to call the offense on the field. 16 D1s come see him, you know, April and May, you know, and then May 18th, you know, he has an ATV accident, you know, and, you know, his career's done. But like, here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, like, that is probably like one of the toughest things I dealt with. You know, not only is it a player, but like, it's the quarterback, you know, and y'all know
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When y'all play. I mean, when you play, you think about the head coach who's an offensive guy and the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about Todd and Samson's relationship.
Yeah. You tapped in.
You know?
You really connected.
Like, yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I think if you were to walk into Union High School and say, "Hey, does Coach Wrenn love his players?" Everybody's gonna say, "Absolutely, he does." But like, I had a special, relationship with that kid. Like, I saw him in the 8th grade, and I told somebody, I said, "That kid, there's gonna be the best quarterback come through Union." And I had a lot of people say, "You crazy?" And I was like, "Okay, just wait. Just wait."
Was that?
He had to start his sophomore year. He's got baby giraffe legs. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he grew so much, and he's athletic, but he's uncoordinated, and And then his junior year, he blew up, man. Had a great year, and I told him, like, man, this is fixing to get fun. And had a great ACT score, had a great GPA. Unfortunate accident, and then I go into it like, what am I fixing to do? Like, I had all that offense just leave, and then now with him not playing, we lost 7,600 yards of offense. Like, man, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you play
That's a loss. That's a big loss.
Yeah, like, I don't care if it's SEC ball, like down to 1A ball. You lose 7,600 yards, like, I'm really sitting here banging my head up against a brick wall. Like, what are we going to do? And I knew that we had a kid, but I just knew that I didn't have the time to prepare him, But there you go. You start figuring it out. Milan did great for us for the lack of time and the mental capacity that we had to get him ready. Mm-hmm. Like, he did well, and we put a lot on his shoulders. And I'll tell you what, man, the kid never complained, and the kid never said, "Man, I don't know if I can do this." All he said was, "Man, give me the ball," and that's something that I highly respect. And we go through week 1, we get beat by a team that we never thought we'd get beat by. Choctaw Central beat us by 7 points. We turned the ball over 5 times. And then we go into week 2, man, it's raining. We're playing a team in the wing tee. I moved the game to East Central because I was like, man, if we're playing on turf, that helps us. And we get beat by 1 point, turn the ball over 4 times. Then we get to week 3, we play Leak Academy, who competed in the 5A state championship. Man, they 48-6, I can't remember, 48-14. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. And then at this time, I'm thinking, what in the world? The next week, we go play another rival, 4A, Newton County. And, and when you play them, you can throw records out. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter if they're 4-0, we're 4-0, and they ain't won a game, we ain't won a game. It doesn't matter. It's State and Ole Miss. It don't matter. And, we played well, and, we ended up winning 18-13 or something along that. But, like, here's the thing, we didn't turn the ball over, And so week 5, we lose 5 turnovers. First district game, we turned it over 4 times, but they turned it over 4 times. So it was even playing field, so we win our first district game. And, throughout the season, I'm not going to go through all of them. What I figured out was, like, we were not a bad football team. We just had a turnover problem. And we couldn't make the right play on defense to get off the field. And so when you put them two together, that's a recipe for disaster.
It's tough to win football.
Like, it's a recipe for disaster. And so we ended up winning another district game. We finished the district 2-2 on a 3-way tie. And then with the tiebreaker system, we finished as the 4 seed. And so, like, this is what I told our kids, and I firmly believe this. I don't know if I told you this, Malik, but we always try to revert everything back to life, and you know me. And so we go on Monday. We're playing Walnut in the first round. We're the 4 seed. They're the 1 seed. It's a 3.5-hour trip. That's a long way. And I told our kids in the locker room, or maybe on the practice field, I can't remember. Like, this season has not gone how we wanted to go. Like, I get it. And here I am trying to figure out, I've always been able to get people to play above their potential, and especially at Union, get our teams to play above their potential. And me personally, I'm like, I have missed the mark with this group. And, like, I was beating myself up about it. You know, they didn't know about it. The kids didn't know. You know, the coaching staff didn't know. You know, even my wife didn't know. I'm just having, you know, I'm talking about self-talking. Like, what did I do to miss this, you know, to miss this group on not getting them to play above their potential? And I was like, you know what, I'm just fixing to have an honest conversation with them. So I sit them down or stand up, I can't remember. And I was like, guys, look, here's the thing. It ain't going the way we want it to go. Adversity, it sucks. It ain't fun. And you have every reason to just lay down and quit. And you know what, and here's the thing. People in this community would say, you know what, I understand. It's been tough. And I said, here's the thing. I personally would understand. I wouldn't be mad at you. I'd be disappointed. But here's the problem, and I need you to understand this. I said, this is one of these things. I don't need you to hear me. I need you to listen. What you do this week and how you prepare for this game is going to matter when you get a 35. And I saw some people, you know, what's he talking about? I said, because your marriage is going to go through some hard times. If you decide to quit this week and not prepare, you're going to end up getting divorced. You're going to be at a job, somebody got promoted below you or equal to you, above you, you're going to be mad, and you ain't ever going to get another promotion. You're going to be so much in your feelings about what you didn't get. Okay. You know, and guys, that's life. You know, things don't happen the way you want them to happen. If you want something done about it, you have to do it yourself. And if you don't know how to do it, you got to figure it out. And I said, but here's the thing, man. We're not a bad football team. We got to limit the mistakes. And I was like, and I promise you, if you'll go play and don't turn the ball over and we tackle, I said, we'll be playing in the third round right here at Union. And one of them said, you think so? I said, I know so. I said, I believe. I got to get you to believe.
And now we believe.
So that we believe.
Yep.
And we go up to Walnut, 55-6 at halftime.
It's crazy.
You know, like, who thought? You
They started to believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the pure fact of, like, we have a good group of kids, and that's what the principal said. The principal was like, man, look, they're playing hard. I'm like, I know. And it's aggravating because you play hard. How long? And that's the thing with high school kids. Like, how long can you play hard until you realize, like, me playing hard is not good enough, so I'm just going to quit? You know what I mean? Like, how much can you take before you just say, all right, I'm done? And at this point, like, I was to a point to where, like, I don't know how much longer they can play hard and not see a result, you know? Mm-hmm. And I started getting worried about, you know, where our culture was. You know, where I missed them. And then, like, round 1 win, all right, we're good. Round 2 win, oh, we're even better. Round 3, we play a team that we shouldn't be on the field with, and we give up a touchdown on a kickoff return and a fake punt, and they beat us 20-3, when in probably 6 weeks before, they beat us 44-0. You know, and I was like, you know, and you know, nobody wants to lose a game. But, like, I was so proud of, like, you were 3-7, had every way to turn it down and just, you know, get in your feelings about it. But, like, I'm so proud of just, like, you know, sticking to it, play hard, don't worry about what happened. If I ain't worried about what happened the play before, I sure as heck ain't worried about what happened last week.
Nah, not at all.
You know what I mean? And you know, and I give a lot of credit to a lot of people, you know. Yeah, I mean, I am the head coach, but, like, we've got 4 assistants that, you know, that treat these kids just like I do. You know, you hold them accountable, you love them. You know, I can't be the only one to love on kids and us be successful. You know, think about it. You said I'm your favorite coach. What if you didn't like me? What if you didn't feel about me the way that you do? It changes your play. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, and that's the thing that, you know, I encourage young guys to do. Like, yeah, you may be at your position group wanting to be a coordinator. Don't be in your feelings because you're not the coordinator. Keep being the best you can be for your position group, because, like, what you do and how they feel about you matters on what their play is at practice and on Friday night. And I think that's something that, you know, that gets overlooked, you know, because that's such a simple detail. you know, and like we have a thing, you know, we're talking about simple details. Like Livy, my 8-year-old, she said not too long ago, she's like, you know, it sucks being a coach's kid. And I laughed. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, everything matters. I'm like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything does matter. And what led to that is I told her to clean her room, and she did. She did a great job. But I walk in, the first thing I see is like a little piece of paper of a Skittle, and it's laying like almost in the middle of the floor. I'm like, Livy, like,
Yeah.
you got
like,
this
really,
one.
Dad?
Yeah, it's exactly what it's what she said. She looked at it. She's like, well, I mean, I didn't see it. I'm like, well, I mean, okay, well, you got to get it. She was like, oh, it sucks being a coach's kid. And I'm like, and I was giggling. I said, why do you say that? She said, because everything matters. I'm like, you're right. Everything does matter. And I think if everybody would try to treat life as everything matters, you know, then everybody's going to be a little bit better. You know, like Kevin Elka, I'm going back to him. He says, look, if you'll treat everybody you run into like they're hurting, then you're not going to miss them by much. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that means if I treat you like, you know, like something like, you know, love on you, you know, serve you, something, you know, something's wrong with you, and I treat you as if like I'm trying to help you, then everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Never thought about it that way.
Well, and I'll tell you something else he says that really, really helps me with high school kids. Stop looking at this kid and thinking he should be what you think he should be, because you're going to miss the mark every time. If you're looking at this kid and you're like, I don't understand why he does this. He's got all the potential in the world, and he does this, and he does this, and he does that. Stop thinking that this kid should be what you think he should be, and go meet the kid where he's at.
Yeah.
You got to meet kids where they're at. Like, I mean, I can use examples from y'all. Y'all are not the same person. When y'all played, you're not the same player as he was. He wasn't going to ask me a question. You're going to ask me 10 million questions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, y'all had completely different personalities. What y'all both have in common is a good, solid foundation at home, you know? But y'all's personalities were completely different. And so, like, for me to try to get you, why is he not like him? Why do I have to go ask him, like, hey, you good? Hey, everything good? You know what to do? And your answer was always, yes, sir. You know? But, like, I didn't know unless I asked you. Because getting you to talk to me in high school is for, you know, it's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? I couldn't get him to shut up. You know? I couldn't get DeArthur to shut up. You know?
DeArthur was worse than me.
Oh. Look, DeArthur got bored. You know,
Yeah,
that's the only thing about DeArthur. DeArthur got bored.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Coach, I've been running the same route since I've been 7. We've been running since the 7th grade. We've been running the same place since 7th grade. There ain't nothing I can not do out here that I can do sitting in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, except repping it. I don't need to rep it. I'm tired of it. I'm bored. And I remember telling him, like, wait till you get to Arkansas. You're going to be bored then.
Sure.
So they're going to treat you, well, I said some things, so I probably should have said, like, they're going to treat you bad up there. And I remember he's telling me, yeah, you're right. But, like, just comparing y'all on that, think about when you're coaching kids and you're talking about a kid who's got a solid foundation at home and then a kid that doesn't, okay? And then as a coach, you're trying to get this kid, or you don't understand why this kid isn't this kid. It's very simple. You got to go meet the kid where he's at. So you got to come down here, and what your job is to me, or this, I feel like this is my personal job, is here's my standard. Here's his level of accepting it right now. Okay? I know that he ain't ever going to get here, but how far can I bring him to my standard as possible? And I think that's what we as high school coaches have to do the best, is don't sit here and say, I think this kid should be what I think he should be. That's fine. You can think that all you want to. He's not ever going to be. But you as an individual at 13 years old, start working with him and pull him as close as you can to the expectation or to the standard, with the hopes of understanding that when he does get 18, he's in a good situation to be successful.
Yep.
with whatever he chooses to do, whether he is good enough to go play ball. Maybe he's not good enough to go play ball. It doesn't matter. The foundation has now been laid for him because you pulled him up so far to where he can be successful. He's accepted some criticism. He's understood the hard work. He understands teamwork. He understands this isn't about you, it's about us. And then hopefully he can build off that and go be a successful person when whatever route he's going.
Yep, for sure. Well, I think the consensus is, as we wrap, is that everything does matter. Right? That was funny, but that's honestly the most, I guess I would say, raw truth that has come from this for me, listening to you and just even getting to know you more than I already did, is that what you are as a coach, as a man, was exhibited in that one statement that your daughter made. Is that everything matters, and if you approach it that way, then like you said, you won't miss the mark too much, and the impact that you'll have in both your life and your family's life and everything else is always going to be the best that you could do, and you can live with that. And Pappy would be proud.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, 12-2, Pappy was proud. 12-2.
For sure. Well, I mean, I think that wraps it. Again, we appreciate you driving up. We know it was a long drive. I made that drive. My cell signal goes out for like 30, 40 minutes during that drive. So appreciate you driving up. Appreciate you sharing with us. Appreciate you pouring into us, because you didn't have to come up here, but you did because you love us and you care about us, and the relationship that we've been able to build even beyond playing high school football to now as young men. We like to say that, well, at least I would like to say, I know Kareem shares the same sentiments, that I appreciate you, still look up to you, still call you randomly to bother you. And I do need to get down to Union sometime soon, but you know why I haven't, because of what I'm dealing with.
That's
but
right.
We'll make that happen again as well, for sure. I got to, because now I just, especially after they see this, because your older players will see it, the younger players that grow into understanding who you are will understand where you're coming from, and it's going to help them grow even more. So you shared a piece of content that will live forever now.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys for having me up. It's been a. I know we talked. Malik had contacted me probably 3 or 4 months ago about it, and I told him it'd be a great idea, and whenever y'all could work out a date, I'd be down for anything. So I appreciate y'all letting me.
Appreciate you coming out here. You're the first coach on the podcast, so like I said, you're making history already, and I really do appreciate it. We're gonna get you back on there too, because we didn't cover everything today, but we're gonna get you back on and cover.
Yeah, there's
everything
definitely
else.
a part two.
Yeah,
it'll be a part two.
So I was telling him before, we got a coaching clinic in Tunica in February, and
Okay.
And here's a good thing. Guess who's also gonna be at that clinic?
Coach Pooh.
Rob Pooh. So look, I've already called.
Pooh offered me a job, but
Yeah.
I had already accepted to go back to grad school. Had he been like 3 or 4 weeks earlier, I would have been in Louisiana coaching.
Well,
That's the crazy part.
So me and Rob are going to do one together with Kareem.
Hopefully you down there.
Hey, I mean, just tell me the dates, and I'll see what my
February 21st. So we've already booked it.
February.
I just had a meeting earlier. That ain't gonna work.
All right.
I'm sick.
I'll be
But
down there.
y'all got it, and yeah, man, I'm not worried about it. I might call in. I'm gonna call in the middle of the podcast. Put me on speaker. Yeah, I call in or something for like 30 seconds. I gotta appear on that a little bit. I gotta see Coach Poole, man. I haven't seen him in so long. I gotta holler at him.
Man, he's still himself.
Coach Poole.
That's it, man.
There we go.
He's just like me, just a little more gray. A little more gray.
I say, man, one thing, y'all did change a lot of kids' lives. I know y'all still doing it, so that's a big thing, being a coach, that I appreciate it. Coaching, y'all changed a lot of kids' lives. You may not even know it, but help a lot of kids out.
Well, I mean, and I would, with everything that matters for you, I think that's the one thing that matters to me is like, sure, winning's fun, and it solves a lot of problems, but like, just go win at life. Go win at life. That doesn't mean go be a millionaire. That just means go be successful.
Go be something.
Just go be something. So, and I hope that's, when people get into the profession, I know the state championships are going on right now, and every coach would love to be in it, but if that is your sole purpose, of wanting to get into coaching, then I would say those are selfish reasons. Go try and meet kids where they're at and pull them up, and you know, watch them grow into something that you'd be proud of. And I think, you know, if you can really set your mind to doing that, then those championships will come.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, that's another episode of Gridiron Talk in the Sipp. I'm Malik.
I'm Kareem.
I'm Coach Wrenn.
All right.
For sure. We'll see y'all next time.
All right.
All right. Hold